Yo, and welcome to the 25th episode of Lake of Rage, a Pokemon trading card game podcast. I am your host, as always, Kevin Clementi, aka Mellow_Magikarp. I'm joined today by two very special temporary guest hosts. Joining us for the fourth time is Sack, aka Sack17.
Oh, up, guys.
Way to get in on your cue there, Sack. And joining us for, if it's the 25th episode, the 25th time, is Grant, aka Boo CK.
Hello, Kevin. Thanks for having me back. Can't wait to talk some Pokemon.
So today we've got some news that we're going to talk about, and this is like one of the first times where coming to a podcast for news is actually like going to be breaking-ish, which is exciting. Because normally you listen to a podcast for news and you're like, I already know this. Like this happened a week ago. But we got there. This news broke this morning, so I'm hyped. Talk about some news, and then we're going to have a discussion on the meta for POG. If you're unaware of what POG is, we talked about it last week. The Pokemon Online Global Championship. That's it. That's the name of it. It's a very large tournament that's going to be happening this Saturday and Sunday for day 1 and 2, the 4th and the 5th of September. But we'll talk more about that when we get there. So, Sack, how's your week been?
Been good. Been watching a lot of streams, a lot of Evolving Skies. It's great. Excited for the new set.
Let's go. Boo, Grant, what about you?
Pretty much the same. Little Unite sprinkled in there, but yeah, just trying to theory craft some new decks with the cards. Watching a lot of streams. We had Henry and Tord and Sander all streaming today. I saw Stefan was streaming. Was it yesterday? So
yeah,
all the big guns are coming out. They're trying to fill Azul's void, I guess.
This is a really fun set. I can see why people want to jump into it. Like Zora is a card that I've been messing with. It's so much fun. Like, because that's what Stefan was messing with. That's what Sander was messing with, and that's what I've been off stream actually playing for fun. Because it's just like, it's so cool. It's just such a good ability. And it's just, there's something here, right?
I think they're trying to push that with every cool new ability basically being on a stage 1. I think they're trying to push that. And I opened 2 boxes. I pulled 4 of them. So I've already got my play set, which is exciting.
Nice.
Oh, that reminds me, I have a case of Evolving Skies coming.
Bro,
to go with the 4 boxes that I already opened.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna open 10 boxes of Evolving Skies total.
Oh my gosh. Why?
Yeah, I forgot that happened this week. I traded in bulk. I traded in about 17,000 to 18,000 Pokemon cards. So I'm gonna get a case.
Jesus.
But Rayquaza and all the EVs are in this set. No reason not to.
Opening the boxes for tabletop was a lot of fun. I think this is the first time I didn't get bored like halfway through the opening because of how many cards there are and how cool the alt arts are. And so
They're so sick.
Yeah, I do respect. And it's got some of the boxes though. If anyone watched the stream, you know it. We literally had boxes that had 12 to 13 hits, multiple alt arts, multiple full arts, and then we had boxes that had 3 to 4 Vs, and that was it. No anything else. And it's just like, where is
there's some real duds. I got like the alt art Golark. I'm like, cool, I guess.
That card's sick.
It's a cool looking card, but like that was one of my 5 cards I got.
Some of the boxes have been rough.
Yeah, can I get a playable?
It's playable ish.
Yeah, I'm a single strike guy.
It's like, it is single strike.
Yeah. It's psychic, unfortunately. So you can't even use like the energy because you have to attach a psychic energy.
Yeah.
Like, this is useless.
Don't get me started on.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a Houndoom rant in there somewhere.
There's a new energy. Wait, we can accelerate.
We don't need to accelerate it. It's fine. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the news. So there's 2 big things that happened. One is official. The other one is a leak that, I mean, it seems pretty darn official to me. But the first one is the World Pokemon TCG tournament that will be streamed on Twitch. Pokemon has invited 8 top players, and what they're going to do, look, this is going to be really vague because they're being really vague about it. So if you listen to this and you're like, I'm still not sure what the tournament is, I'm reading the press release, so neither am I. But the 8 players are going to draft decks from all of the past world championships, 2014 on, I believe it is. And then they're going to play in a double elimination bracket. I don't know how the draft's going to go. I don't know, I assume 2016 plays 2016 and all that kind of stuff. But the 8 players just got announced. We have Ross Cawthon, Natalia Fernandez, Lydia Hombach, Pablo Meza, Chase Maloney, Xander Pero, Michael Pramawat, and Tord Recklet. So some really good players. And I'm super hyped to watch this because think of all the good decks like Greninja that we get to watch.
Yeah, it has to be paired up right by year because there's so much disparity between those.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm reading it now. It doesn't seem like there's any details, I guess.
Right? It says day
Someone's
1 will
gonna get
be
mega odd though.
the draft in 3 rounds, and day 2 will be another draft and the rest of the rounds, which tells me nothing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's just so many good decks that we get to rewatch, and some that never existed again, like Mega Oddno, like Zach just mentioned. Truth, Ross is here. Ross is the inventor of the Truth, a deck that existed literally that one tournament. That Vileplume, what's it, Reuniclus Lock. And then SB Garb is another one because Xander's here. Pablo, Top Cut Worlds with Frogs. So Frogs is definitely one of the ones that's there. Tord, Top Cut with that Firebox that was essentially a theme deck. That's another one that, I don't know, there's so much cool stuff, and I'm really excited for this. You two have any thoughts on any of the...
I think the other thing to think about is how are they going to play these formats?
What a segue into the second piece of news. And one of my hot takes, I don't have any insider knowledge. I wish I did. Well, if I did, I wouldn't say anything. But this is September 18th and 19th. There was a recent leak about Pokemon Live, a quote-unquote new TCGO client. Now, there's people out there who are like, what if it's a reskin of PTCGO? First off, I think that's just no. There's no freaking way they just reskin PTCGO. I will walk down to Bellevue and riot if it's just PTCGO all over again.
And they're giving us more wood.
Yeah, the tables are sick.
Yeah.
But this has to be the first thing on PTCG Live. And it has to mean that they have old format, either ladder or rules or anything like that. That is my prediction, and I'm holding to it until we see otherwise.
Yeah, I think this is I mean, we've talked about it a little bit when it was first leaked, as far as how long the contract with Direwolf lasted, or was it a 10-year deal? And I went back and tried to find some stuff, and I couldn't find anything.
I heard someone mention it has been almost exactly 10 years.
Right. So that would actually make sense. And PTCGO was down this morning, I believe, for like 5 hours. Maybe that's part of the implementation. I mean, think of how much people riot if you lose your collection right now, especially if they're going to give you old formats. So there's got to be a lot of back end stuff, and maybe we can talk to Dylan about that sort of thing, because I'm not a coder or any sort of computer person. But I mean, this is a huge undertaking if it is a new client. I think to keep all of our stuff and to put in all these formats.
All of us had to log in, because I know I did, because that's how I got my Players Cup keys. But is it mandatory for PTCGO to link your Play Pokemon account or your Pokemon.com account? Because then our collection should be linked to our Pokemon.com account. At least everyone who got Players Cup keys, right?
Yeah, there's some people that aren't linked, so
well, it sucks to be them.
Not everyone is. Yeah. How do I get keys?
Well, there's
link your account first.
Yeah, there's the linking process, because you can enter codes on Pokemon.com.
Yeah, that's it.
And so they have that in the back end, at least, to take your information that way.
But I feel like that has to be it, right? Because I mean, this is speculation that I think Dylan should be, because this goes into internet security. But they definitely can't port over username and passwords because that should all be encrypted in a way that I assume they don't have access to an easy way to get that information. But the fact it's linked to your Pokemon account, I'm assuming it's going to carry over. I know people like Magic didn't do that. No one cares about Magic. Like it's different. It's entirely different.
The client was better to begin with, so it was easy for them.
Arena looks really cool.
Yeah.
Do we think microtransactions? Will I have a way to give PTCG Live my money?
I mean, I asked the question to the pod last week, and Luke said he would just give them his money. It's like, I would too.
I would too.
I would just love to put my money straight into it and not have to go through all these runarounds to buy codes, put them in. Just let me spend my money, you know. But it isn't really that much of a pay to play, especially they could do like a pass thing. Like I think somebody mentioned renting decks or something like that. I don't know how that works because I haven't played any other card games, but you know, there's so many more opportunities if we have a flexible client that actually caters to the 2021 versus what it seems like we're playing in 1995 right now.
Another thing that, because like, okay, so I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links before. I put money into them. I played more for that game than I played on PTCGO, even though I clearly play one more than the other. And one thing they've got in there is structure decks, not theme decks. Theme decks are memes. These are like good cards, good-ish decks with some small edits, essentially a league battle deck. Just offer us the ability to pay $4.99 for a league battle deck. And it seems fine. Like all the people who are PTCGO only, you get your Urshifus, you get all your whatever the next league battle deck's going to be. It's affordable. It seems like such an obvious transaction, even if they don't do packs.
It seems natural. The transition, the way the card game's gone with the battle decks, giving us ADP and Zacian, and then the trainer toolkits, like they're starting to cater to availability of cards. One thing in person, but a second thing online. So actually to be able to have them, because that ADP was actually one of the hardest cards to get, right?
It was actually.
You had to pull it from Cosmic Eclipse.
And it was pretty pricey for a while too.
Yeah, and so now it's actually available, and I think I've told the story on the pod before. That was the only item on the shelves back in the initial rushes. People were leaving that deck. So I don't know. It seems like they've made the transition. They're doing it with the stage 1, 2, 3 V battle decks or whatever they're called. And it doesn't sound like we're getting Gengar until November. Or the other Inteleon, but that's fine.
No, it's not. I want that Inteleon. I love that card.
Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I want to play it too. Yeah.
Well, because you can keep calling for the V. That's all I want. The only reason I want to play Urshifu is because I can keep calling for the V, and that makes it the best deck in the format. That's a different rant, though.
New Grant rant.
I was watching Henry Brand's stream the other day, and he had shown his YouTube channel from 8-10 years ago, and PTCGO has come a long, like it used to be on a browser, like over the past 10 years it's come a long way. So like there's probably some more updates coming that we don't know. In the video games they do rental teams, so like it's probably very possible to do rental decks as well, if they could do a rental team.
That would be cool, especially if we have, I don't want the ranked ladder discussion. That's not the point of today. We'll have Luke back on if we want someone to rant about the ranked ladder. But if there were a standard ladder versus a ranked ladder, like in Unite, how they give you the rental Pokemon that you can play on the standard ladder, but ranked, you have to actually have purchased them with coins or gems.
Yeah.
So that would be a cool, like you can test it out, but you can't test it out in what matters.
Yeah, and you can use any of them in practice.
And then
that'd be kind of fun.
Sassix, I think that's how you say their name, in chat said PTCGO Live, they think there might be a spectator because of the name. Which I'm curious, do you think the video game doesn't have a spectator mode? Do you think it's realistic to get, we want it, but is it realistic to get a spectator mode?
Have you seen it in any other client or format, or like even like Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh? Is there spectator mode there? Has it been done before?
That's a question I didn't research. I have
Yeah.
no idea. Yu-Gi-Oh does not have a spectator mode. It does record your games automatically, which is a feature that I'd be happy with if I can't get spectator.
I think it'd be easier in a card game than on the Switch. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I mean, it's so simplistic. I guess there's a ton more interactions in the card game as far as like coding and how much information it takes. Because they keep getting that wrong every time we get an update, right? We're the ones doing the bug testing for them, apparently.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, that is Direwolf doing PTCGO, and we don't know who's doing what's it called, live. But I would bet a lot of money it's TPCI doing their own thing. Like 10 years ago versus now, they're a way bigger company. If they're not doing it in-house, I would be shocked.
They have a lot of money now.
Yes.
But yeah. Like I would imagine they would be a spectator mode if like they were to plan for it, because they're doing all these like the team challenges, Players Cup, all that stuff is going on, and for that to work for them for like stream for recordings, someone has to record their game. And like they're probably like, man, I think I've had enough of this after a year and a half. So we should put it into spectate mode so we can just go in there and watch them do it and record it ourselves. Because like it's cool to record it, but like, what if you can't record it and you're one of the top players in the world? Like,
Yeah, we've seen the issues.
Watch, yeah,
we've seen the issues on their streams already. You know, they're getting footage from both sides, and they flip the table, and apparently both people are playing on the same side color-wise, just like Unite. But the production value is so crappy, but it could be so easily fixed. And when you're putting in the man hours to pay somebody to do all that back-end editing, when it could just already be programmed in going forward, and who knows how long we're going to be in this no live era. It seems like they keep setting dates for the future, but there's no announcement of us actually getting back, I guess, other than them actually putting in policies for live play.
Yeah.
I remember that was an issue with like the Hegster stuff a couple weeks ago.
People got their pitchforks for the stupidest reasons. But we already went over that in a couple weeks ago on a different pod.
Yeah.
One other thing with it is the word live says to me there's a chance that we get official events on the online client. I'm not holding my breath for that, but also it's in the back of my mind as a wish list of like, maybe we can get a league challenge, or maybe TOs locally can run it through a store. That's the dream, right? Like, it just sounds really nice.
Dude, online regionals where I can go down to my kitchen and make food between rounds instead of having to like deal with the vendor.
I'm guessing maybe
like a good time.
That might be part of it. I think they might be saying we're not going back to play, maybe even until London, and so we need to have some actual point official stuff. So if we're going to put a new client out, contract's ending, let's bake all this in now, because who knows what the future entails, right? We're getting all these variants. Who knows when we'll ever be back having sanctioned live 800,000 people in a conference center.
Yeah. Bro, let me go to London. I've been dreaming about this trip for so long. I've earned it. Let me go to London this year, please.
London would be nice.
Wear your mask.
I would try for that world.
Yeah. Bro, it's easy. You can watch my YouTube videos on how to earn your world's invite. We got 2 of them out there.
There's 2 videos?
Yeah, there's one where I talk about how I did it, and then there's one at the round table with 3 players who got theirs. They're both really good.
Is the word
anyone listening to this who hasn't watched them, you should watch both of them. They're like 10 out of 10 videos.
Is part of the recommendation you have to get good?
Yeah, yes. That is literally said at one point. Because none of the people who I interviewed, like, they're not grinders. They're like, I'm just consistently doing well. So yes, get good is very much one of the suggestions.
I'm screwed.
Yeah, we're off to a rough start.
You can also pay
grinding
if you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just go to every regional.
I think you get DQ.
That's my plan.
Hey, $10 if you scoop to me, and then I no longer have any wins.
All right, are you ready to get into the POG meta discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready for this.
So we do have a bunch of questions from chat, most of which are about POG. But before we get to that, what are your initial thoughts? POG is tomorrow. Let's pretend you're actually going to play. I don't know if either of you are playing. I don't know, Zach, if you've got work.
Oh, I'm playing.
You are
I'm
playing? Okay. Boo, are you going to play or?
I think I have to play the early pod though.
Oh, that's right. You're busy.
Bad planning on my part, or just over my head, not thinking too much about what is. I need a personal assistant or something to plan this. Siri does a bad job, and I can't keep track of my own schedule, even working from home. And so I have to play at 5 a.m. or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it quick.
To that.
This is irresponsible of me. So POG, a real quick history and rundown. It happened last year. Last year, this was pre-play.limitlesstcg.com. This was when there were only a couple of very large tournaments, and this was announced. And the reason this was such a big deal is it took the place of Worlds. We had a date for Worlds then. We don't this year, so we're just making it up. But we knew Worlds was going to be on this day. It was going to be this format. So POG was created. It was a free tournament with cash prizing, which at the time was a big deal. Now you see the occasional tournament that does that already, but POG got a lot of attention because it was big. It was well organized. It was the quote unquote Worlds that anyone could play in. And I think one of the biggest things is day 2, everyone who earned their day 2 IRL invite got an auto day 2 to POG. So most of the biggest names in the TCG were booked to play in day 2, which kind of helped that of like, oh, these really good players who keep telling us that online tournaments are a joke are going to play in an online tournament. Sick. And it went really well. Like the top names, the finals was Isaiah Bradner against Sander, which is 2 very, very good players. And so it's just one of those things that I think everyone's kind of been excited for beyond any Hegster or any other tournament like that. And this is the second year. The quote unquote pseudo Worlds. There are 2 day 1. So Boo already mentioned that thinks he's going to have to play in the first pod. First pod starts at 2 a.m. Pacific time, which is the normal time for anyone in Europe, Asia, or Australia, New Zealand. Second pod starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is made for people in LATAM, North America, etc. If you go 7-3 or better, so if you get 7 wins in 10 rounds, you automatically make it to day 2. If you go 7-0, you get dropped right there. You're into day 2. You're good to go. Day 2, everyone plays at the same time, which is 5 a.m. Pacific time. I'm not excited for. And from there, that's where the cash comes into play. First place gets $500, second place gets $250, and so on and so forth. It will be 9 best of 3 Swiss rounds in day 2. That's a quick, and it's team up to Evolving Skies. So it is pre-rotation. Cool. I think that
day 2 is best of 3.
Yeah, day 2 is best of 3. Day 1 is best of 1.
Let's go. That's even better. I thought it was all just best of 1.
Well, yeah, but you have to get through best of 1 in order to make it to the best of 3.
Yeah.
All right.
So get good part.
So now that we've gone over what POG is, for anyone who might not have known, let's say the tournament's tomorrow. What are you playing? Maybe not the best deck, maybe not anything. Just what do you think you would want to be playing? Zach, start us off.
Tournament's tomorrow. I don't have the rest of the week to practice for it. Probably playing Shadow Rider or Pikarom because I know those are the best.
Shadow Rider with Alcremie or?
Yeah, for sure. You got to deal with Dark Box and all that. So there's Alcremie's probably going to be there. Might take a Zapdos, but I probably won't play Zapdos. But the Gengar Mimikyu combo is like way too good to pass that up in this format. Especially with we've had Evolving Skies for about a week now. Mm-hmm. If it's tomorrow, it's today, Tuesday, about a week. So it's a lot of it's still untested. People don't know the matchups, their decks. So just go with something you know. So I would go with Shadow Rider. And then Pikarom, it's the last ride of Pikarom. So you get the new stadium, which is nice. It finds you electric Pokemon. And I'll probably just play Pikarom one last time.
So the question is, do you play the good deck or do you play the this is my last chance? Not that Pikarom's bad. I think Pikarom's in an okay spot, but Shadow Rider appears to be in a stronger spot than Pikarom is.
Yeah.
The other cool thing about Shadow Rider, like you said, you have the Gengar Mimikyu. It's best of 1. If you can get 1 cheese win out of 10 rounds, that's more time to not play Pokemon, which is a lunch break or something like that. It's just really encouraging to get those donk whorehouse KO. So
Yep.
that's another big benefit, actually. Now that you mentioned
Those
it.
are great.
Grant, what about you?
Well, I think Dark Box off the rip, but then looking at the winner of the late night last night and seeing just more kind of Mewtwo box play, I think there's a little bit of wiggle room there, but that I think hinges again off of Gengar Mimikyu, because it is super oppressive, and it's sort of the same way um, as the Cabalion. You know, just getting an extra turn basically is super good. But I'd like to play Tag Call one last ride and finally getting Sabrina and Bryson. But you know, if everyone's gonna play Pikarom, I think Single Strike would be a decent go. I think I lost in the finals of the Rat Sub tournament to Pikarom playing Single Strike,
Yeah.
which is kind of embarrassing.
No, that's literally a free matchup for Pikarom because Single Strike used to play like 0 switches.
Yeah. The list right now, having Umbreon is such a game changer, and we can get into that in a little bit just as a card into deck building. But now you have type coverage, you have Gust, you have a secondary attacker. So I think, well, especially after rotation will be much better, but I think it's a viable option. And then the other one I've been working on a lot is Leafeon. I think it's a viable archetype. I've been playing it with Moltres and not the Inteleon engine. But decks you're going to see a lot of. I think Rapid Strike Urshi is going to be super oppressive, and the question of do you play the Mew? Do you open up the door to the Metacham? Same thing, another turn. But yeah, I think probably Dark Box if I had to pick something, and I might put a little flavor in it, maybe a Vileplume or something.
So you're running Aurora energies in your Dark Box.
Yeah, Zapdos. I'd probably spice it up a little bit.
If I were to play tomorrow, I think I would have to go in with the Leafeon and Inteleon list that I played the other day. Just because after making the video on it, so I made a YouTube video where I went over every single matchup, and every single meta matchup, both after playing it and after theorying it, is really good. Now, one of the issues is you really only are teched out to beat those types of decks with the list that I'm running. I know you have your Moltres list with a ton of mine is ridiculously teched out. I've never played a deck with so many one-ofs that are for very specific situations, but it feels really good, and it's very high on my list of like, it's just a good deck. It feels really good. I've got answers to everything, like I said, meta that's out there. I run into non-meta stuff, I probably lose. It's fine, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's the power of that Inteleon engine, right? You can put a lot of techs in, and you can find them when you need them.
That's one reason I liked Ice Rider at first, and then people were just like, what if we cut all of our techs and just played a bunch of 4-ofs? And it's like, it's good. I can't deny it's good, but it just stopped being fun for me because it's like, why am I playing greens every turn just to get one of my 4 Melanie? It's like, that always felt really bad. So I like the teched out Leafeon, because Leafeon needs so much less, right? Like Ice Rider needs to Melanie every single turn. Leafeon, if you have turn 1 attach onto a Leafeon, you're ready to go. Like you don't even need to attach on turn 2 because the ability is so disgusting good. Bro, I just love that card. I love that card so much more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, I got mine in the mail today. I'm pumped about it.
I need to actually buy them, I think. Grass is the
I
new
should probably
yellow.
pick those up.
Get
You're
them
gonna
now
get a
before they.
case, Zach. Wait till you open that.
I'm
Get
in,
'em
like
now.
online.
Oh yeah, that.
I don't have any online.
So Boo kind of already alluded to it, but what are the decks that you think you will play the most of? It's 10 rounds. There's over 500 people already registered. And in classic Pokemon fashion, there's going to probably be a giant rush at the very end as well. So you might be looking at a 700 person pod. That's a heck of a lot of people playing a heck of a lot of stuff. What decks do you think you're going to run to the most? Zach, do you want to start us off?
Start it off. Number 1, Raptor Strike Urshifu.
Yeah.
I think people are a big fan of the new Metacham edition. You're not worried about Mew anymore with the Inteleon pings. You beat a lot of matchups. Shadow Rider's actually not that bad of a matchup. It just beats a lot of things and it keeps a lot of other things as being able to take prizes like that. So that's cool. I think that'll be number one. Number two is either like Dark Box or Shadow Rider. Depends, like, oh, people are going to play a lot of Urshifu. Maybe Shadow Rider beats it, so I'm going to try to play Shadow Rider to counter all the Urshifus I'm going to see, and then it like has a favorable matchup against everything else. You get Gengar Mimikyu again, and then just does Shadow Rider things, and then Dark Box to beat all the right back to it, beat all the Shadow Riders. It's just a rock paper scissors thing. So I think those would be top three. And I think Luke Metal might be like the number four. People are going to enjoy the new stadium. Luke Metal is just like, I don't know what you're going to play, but I know I can play defensively and out resource manage you. So Luke Metal is always like a good choice when people are unsure or don't have the most consistent list. So I think that'll be nice. Plus, the new stadium is just ridiculous for Luke Metal.
And it's best of one. So you get the full time for one game versus trying to squeeze in, potentially 3 in a 50-minute or whatever.
That is important.
So
So you
Luke
can
Metal's
change
a little free.
you can change your deck between day 1 and 2, and so you can go for the good best of 1 play and change it to a good best of 3 play. Which I know there are people who will say there is a difference, and there are people who say there isn't a difference. But if you suck at time management, and a lot of people do, although PTCGO makes it better, LMZ is good for a best of 1 if you don't know when to scoop.
Yeah.
There's a big difference for best of 1 between best of 3. Like look at E-Turn, for example. It sucks in a best of 1 format, but best of 3, yeah, you can actually draw out of those E-Turn hands. So that's fine.
See, I was thinking Dark Box is a good best of 3 deck where, I mean, best of 1, it feels bad because if you look at your opening hand and you know if you're going to win or lose almost immediately. Like the deck has such high
6
power.
energies.
Exactly. And then best of 3, you're like, if I set up 60% of the time, I can go 9-0.
Yep. Ridiculous.
Well, I'll piggyback a little bit. I think those are obviously easily the top 4. I mean, we could talk Ice Rider a little bit. I don't know. But I think ones we'll see a lot of as a newcomer would be the Suicune. And then I wouldn't sleep on E-Turn either. E-Turn now, with a couple of E-switches and the Umbreon is, pretty powerful. You still have Path, which can shut down your damage output, but and your Gust, I guess. But there's I think there's some viability to the E-Turn.
And for
still out there.
Anyone who wants to play E-Turn, I've noticed I love Path decks. I was really hype on Path. I can beat E-Turn with 2 Chaotic Swells, but once they add that 3rd Chaotic Swell, the matchup just gets so bad because they just draw it all the freaking time. Like, no matter what you do, they're just like, yeah, I've got it. Like, don't worry. So I think if you're going to play E-Turn, that 3rd Chaotic Swell is really good against Path.
Yeah, and I wonder if we'll see any sort of fun stuff. 9th place last night was a Glaceon. I don't think it's very good.
I love Glaceon. Not pre-rotation.
Yeah, right. It has some, the same sort of thing as Zam. Like if you're just not teched for it, it's viable. Some sleepers out there. We still have people have navigated to the Delmise, which I think is really fun. And if people aren't going to be willing to play Mew because they're going to lose a turn because it's so soft, that the snipe ability there is fun.
To go off of that real quick.
Yeah.
And I guess this might derail the conversation a bit. I think I might be in the minority with this. I think Mew is an actively bad tech card going into this weekend. All Rapid Strike Urshifus run multiple quick shootings. They all run Metacham. Unless you play Big Charm or Cape of Toughness, I think Mew is actually just bad and is actually going to lose you more games than it wins you. So I would not recommend Mew. Unless if you can Big Charm the Mew, yeah, that's sick. That makes it so much harder.
Just one Mew or 2? What if you did 2 Mew?
So someone posted, was it Avrin?
Right.
Avrin posted having 2 Mews against Rapid Strike Urshifu, but they had 2 quick shootings and a Metacham. And so they just KO one, and then the next turn they can just KO the other one.
You're right.
And it was this isn't a good tech.
Yeah.
You're just giving them free prizes and free turns.
Well, you don't have to play the Mew. You can have it in your deck. You don't have to put it down.
Then why would you
don't
play it
get
in the
tag
deck?
bolted as much if you're playing Mew.
That's a Delmise.
No, see, don't play Mew. Correction. Some decks can play Mew because early game it's good. But if your deck's not going to win before they do the shenanigans where they go double quick shooting, yoga loop into Gmax rapid flow and take the rest of their prizes, don't play Mew. You should know by now how your deck matchup goes, if it's worth it or not.
Yeah, and we see it, like, it's so easy to gust anyways in other decks. Like, before the Metacham was even a thing, it was like you put the Mew down, you think you're safe against it. And we saw it with Chmansky, just like, if you play it down, like, I'm just going to gust it and KO it, and I'm going to keep going about my business. Like, it really doesn't do that much. So much so that Pokemon says, this has been the best deck in the format. And we know that it's available and even better post-rotation. We're not even going to print a bench barrier because you don't need it. Like, it's actually not good.
Which, yeah, I mean, just don't play bench barrier. It's not. Oh, correction. It depends on your deck and the matchups. But, like, I didn't play it in Leafeon, and it was fine. Like, yeah, they sniped me, and I lost a game with Rapid Strike Urshifu because they KO'd both of my Sobbles before I could Drizzile, and that sucked. But it's like, having a Mew down doesn't feel good because then I'm getting a Mew instead of a Sobble. And then late game, they just go, all right, sick, I'm going to take 2 turns in a row. GG's.
I mean, I'm debating it. Like, if I was to play single strike, whether to put a Mew in, just because you need the Houndooms, but
yeah.
I don't know necessarily that much, given the matchup, because you can, if you play the basic energy, you can self-accelerate to a Urshifu with your attack, laser focus, and then go into, then set up. And maybe if you have the baby Houndooms, then they knock those out for some reason. You could try it again, or you could set them up and then go in with the Umbreon, Gust, KO with Umbreon as well, because you're hitting harder. So I don't, it's a deck by deck decision, I guess.
Yes, I agree.
But
and then how the rest of it's built.
But if we're thinking that Rapid Strike is going to be one of the top 3 decks played, which it for sure will be, is it a liability? Do you want 2 of your first 4 matches to be losses because you've lost a turn and they just run through you?
So I do want to point out, and this is important for anyone listening, do not get discouraged. 10 rounds and you only have to go 7-3. I started 1-2 and I made day 2 last time. Slapjacks 13, who's in chat, started 1-3 and won 6 in a row to make day 2. It is 100% possible. So don't get discouraged because a bunch of you listening, what Boo is describing is going to happen. A bunch of us are going to start really bad. So don't get discouraged immediately.
Yeah, I played Senna Scorch, and my first round was the heat-proof Bronzong, and I had double in the list all week, and I cut double, and so I'm Eldegoss looping to attack, and at that point, they set up, but it's like that's a real rough way to start your POG tournament, and then I lost the win in round 10. Yeah. So it'll happen. That's the one matchup you don't think there's like 2 people playing it, and
you'll hit it.
That'll happen, right? But
like the difference too, it's day 1 to day 2. The difference between 7-0 and 7-3 is just playing 3 more rounds. It doesn't matter at all for day 2. That's also an important note. If just go 7-3 or better, that's all you got to do.
Yeah, go 7-0 and you're out of there.
Because you dropped, right? So it doesn't matter.
They pull you out. You're good to go. Go on with your day.
Which
another thing, back to the Mew real quick. If you charm it, a lot of people playing Tool Scrapper. Like a lot of people playing Tool Scrapper. So like, if they charm it, doesn't matter. But I think another thing that might be fun to test out would be Scoop Up Net. So you like play Mew early, so they go like,
Oh.
I can't ping you, and then you net the Mew, and then they can't ping you, I guess. So I think I might try that out in Chatterwriter.
That's a valid argument. Because like early
If
game,
the
it
Mew's-
helps you set up, and then late game, you're
Right.
like, all right, you don't get to
It's a
take your
liability.
fancy turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night, how nobody was playing Tool Scrapper anymore. And they keep printing all these tools. And I was playing 4 Tool Jammer in the Leafeon. And you're only really trying to set, if you're ever trying to do a lock on somebody, it's towards the end, right?
Mhm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
you don't really need that many, but nobody's playing Scrapper. And now you have to think, okay, what's a better way of going about it? Because Tool Scrapper's really good. They just printed seven or 9 tools in the last set, all very viable tools to, at least with the evolutions. So you have to expect people to be playing it, and with the Inteleon line, it's not hard to find, which is always an issue.
One jammer, one
Yeah,
scrapper.
Urshifu's like,
yeah, for Leafeon.
Urshifu's like really good because, or any intelligent deck's really good because you have all those techs you're talking about. You can find them whenever you need them. Like you said, the Leafeon deck is the most teched out deck you've played so far. Well, like Urshifu gets pretty teched out as well, especially with the new Raihan, right? Raihan. You can find your techs so much easier. So you like, I'll tech Mew, or like I'll tech Big Charm or Hood, or like whatever may be. Then they just like, I'll go find my one of tank to beat your one of tank because I play Drizzile and I play Rainan and I play all these other cards, and it's just so viable that like it'll probably be top of the list. Versatile. It's probably be top of the list for most played.
So Sack, you and I are more the creative deck building type, and Mello's more the mainstream, big streamer type. Do you pull all your stops out day 1, or do you save your spice for day 2? Hope
Not
you
a
make it that
chance.
far.
If I'm playing day 2, it's like I made it. I'm up against the big names. I'll play something creative, something spicy. So then I have my outs for when I suck. That's me personally. But like day 1, if I'm trying to make day 2, I'm playing the most consistent list that I know. Like my 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, all the way down. So then I can make day 2 and show off the spice. Like day
Sure.
2 where it really matters, right? But if you don't get to day 2, because like you drew a hand of just garbage and you couldn't do anything, then it doesn't matter because you're not in day 2. So day 1, I'm trying to do just consistency. I'm gonna like net deck toward Reklev and just like consistency all day, every day. Day 2, tanks, spice, garbage, all of the above. That's what I'm doing day 2.
See,
I like that.
I'm a fan. If you got the spice, I think you bring it day 1. Unless you think you've broke the format, then just bring Urshifu and get your guaranteed day 2 because your deck sets up. But like I'm probably not going to change my deck if I make day 2. Unless the deck just feels really bad and I outplay everyone and it's just like I didn't deserve this, but I'm here. But like, nah, you just play the same deck. I'm such a fan of that.
Yeah, but that feels day 1 if I would switch to day 2. But I think day 1, if I'm not confident in making day 2, I would just go consistency. But if I'm like really confident what I'm doing, I'll just play the spice. Depends on how the testing goes. What is today? Tuesday? We got a few more days.
Yeah,
Sack
that's a
playing
valid point.
Blissey day 2.
I'm blessing day 2. I think I might play Reshi Ram day 2.
I mean,
We've been talking about that.
But there is a world, day 1 versus day 2. Day 1's like, 700 people? A bunch of quote-unquote randos. Day 2, probably everyone who's tried pretty hard. Like, you're only going to see meta decks, mostly, on day 2. So actually, that could be the time where that, like, anti-meta spice is really good.
Yeah, a deck... Well, yeah, we're talking about that. That's a great call with Tag Call, but the deck we haven't talked about is Desi as well.
Oh god, don't play Desi.
You're at the highs and lows of Desi. If we don't mention Desi on this podcast today,
where is it on the chart?
We forget, right? We all forget about Desi. So then, like, Desi goes up. It's a good play, and then no one texts for it day 1, day 2. Everyone texts for it. Desi goes down. You play something else, right? But it depends, like. Are people going to like remember it? Like we just had a new set. We got all these VMAXs, all these new cards, all these V Pokemon. They're like, well, we don't really have a tech for Tessie because I want to play the new shiny Rayquaza VMAX. That's just terrible.
Everyone play that,
right? And then no one techs for Desi, and Desi does really well, and you could probably just cheese 7 wins.
To me,
I don't think Desi will.
This is a deck where you have to feel not confident in anything and say, I hope I hit the matchup roulette.
Yeah.
Because
Just
like
hope people forget about it.
you lose to Urshifu. Like you should never beat a competent Urshifu player, right? Ice Rider lists that are running the good version of the list, the Australian version, not the North American version, they should beat you pretty consistently as well, right? And then you have randos that are going to throw techs in there for everyone else. God, what else? What else is meta? So you should beat Dark Box probably, although Dark Box gets the new Moltres, but it's weak to grass. Is it weak to grass or lightning?
There's a lot of
Moltres
like new
grass.
It's
Okay.
grass, yeah. There's a lot of new cards out there that are just like helpful in like matchups, like Dark Box use Moltres, Articuno, and Shadow Rider. Just like little things like that that'll be like, this is really good. Like Urshifu already has the Inteleons, and now they get Metachamp too. It's like, oh, this is neat. So I think that just the new cards in general that'll be played in decks will help tech versus Decidueye. But like that being said, I'm not teching for Decidueye.
Neither am I. Although some of the decks I'm testing are naturally teched against Decidueye. Like that's
yeah. Some might just be naturally teched.
Are we sleeping on Victini VMAX?
Not as a peek around player, no.
I mean, it pairs with a lot of other Pokemon, right? It's very easy. It's low maintenance, right?
I tried
the new
Victini
Umbreon.
Umbreon, yeah, and it's still a Victini deck, right? You still get walled by Ice Rider's Articuno. It's fine. It did okay, but like I can't get behind Victini as a card anymore. It's hurt me too many times.
Like the new the appeal of Victini is that you can go like, oh, research boss in the same turn with the new Umbreon. But then we still have GXs in the format. People like no one likes tag teams anymore. We're done with the GXs. But people will still play them. Like ADP will probably still get played because it got the new edition of Suicune. So like that'll be a deck like ADP Suicune.
Yeah, are we sleeping on ADP still?
Well, we have Sabrina and Bryson, man. We just haven't gotten there. But like, I don't think Victini's that good. You still get walled by a lot of things. You like even with Umbreon, it's like, come on now.
If you do want a welder deck, though, I think Mewtwo welder with Umbreon is a viable deck. I can't get behind welder anymore. I tried it out.
Welder deck.
It's fine. You beat Shadow Rider. Umbreon just like clap Shadow Rider so hard. It's actually ridiculous.
It does what, 160 times 2?
Yeah.
Oka's Shadow Rider?
Yep. And you can bring them up if they're trying to hide and build up big numbers. I really like being a welder deck that can gust in the same turn you welder feels really good. Like really good. And fixing the Shadow Rider matchup feels really good. So
what is Umbreon reaching?
It's weak to grass.
Oh, let's go. Just play Umbreon. Single strike. I might get on Boost Strike.
Yeah,
strike.
It's a real.
It's not weak to Urshifu.
Well, your Houndooms get rapid flowed. That's
we'll revisit the drawing board.
There's some fixes to that.
But no,
play Double Mew.
Speaking of new decks that are good, that is actually one. All the single strike simps out there. Shout out to Grant, who is one of them. This is your time. I think single strike's in the best place it's been at ever. Not tier 1, but definitely competitive and viable.
I mean, you just have to attack twice and you win.
Exactly.
Try to put them together.
And LMZ is popular. The LMZ matchup is free. If you manage your resources, it's free. You can lose, but just don't play bad, and the matchup's free.
I don't even know, a lot of people don't even know how the single strike Urshi attack works. They're like, what? They just hit through me? It's
the shred attack. You just go through everything.
It's so powerful. And then also Duraludon's out there. I don't know if anyone will play it, but it exists, I guess, technically.
No, we already let Celios talk positively about that. That's as much Duraludon propaganda as we can do.
It's not good.
It's not good.
One other one does the new Psychic evolution. What is it?
There's a new Psychic
Can't think
card.
Well, it was Fairy, but now it's
Sylveon.
Sylveon, yeah. What
You
I mean,
can
is there any room for that one?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't have enough time to work on it, but there's no way there's not, right?
Mhm. I think
you-
it's the attack of Sylveon makes the deck too clunky to be good. That's
But
my opinion
it
on
works with
Sylveon.
triple acceleration. That's the reason I'm like,
Oh,
ooh,
Yeah.
that's kind of good. Or it works with welder as well.
You get the baby Sylveon's ability turn 1, so you go like, I'll end my turn with a triple XL in hand or whatever else I need
It's an
in hand.
item.
Mhm. Oh, it's an item?
Yeah.
Oh, this got worse.
Just get
What the-
computer search. It's fine.
Yeah, I thought it was like turn 1 computer search and end your turn. I was like, you get Marnie to
Oh,
wait, but
that
like,
would be
never mind. That's
disgusting.
terrible.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
you
still
get,
very good.
Yeah.
you get Poke Gear to find Opal to find triple acceleration.
Oh, I was gonna go with Piers. You can find Crobat, which is
Oh,
like a dark
that too, yeah.
Pokemon, and
Okay.
then you get triple. I thought that was gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, get your full art Piers. I think there's some room to play with that in the future.
After playing it in
get
single
wrecked.
strike.
Get
It's
wrecked.
good.
Talk me into it a little bit.
Bro, I had to
Piers
talk get
Umbreon is
wrecked
probably
into
really
it.
good.
Don't
What?
listen to him.
He talked me. He was selling me on it. And I was like, I can see it.
Oh, you get Umbreon Piers.
It's,
I think this
it's
is probably
boss, right?
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
better boss at that point.
Yeah.
dope. I don't know where I heard it, but someone said this is probably the most viable time to play Piers at the moment.
I
Like you get triple, twin, if you're trying to play twin, single strike energy, and like Umbreon, and then Crobat. Maybe like when Ultra Ball gets reprinted. Also, Ultra Ball is getting reprinted. We
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
know already.
we didn't even talk about that.
Oh, yeah. That is one of the
It'd be
questions
really
we got
good.
from chat, though, so we'll get there.
Yeah. So you can go
Okay.
like Piers for like Crobat and like special energy, and then your hand with Ultra Ball, and it'll be really cool. But like maybe even more viable, but it's like pretty viable right now. So that'll be nice. It'll be fun to mess around with. Sylveon would be good.
I'm a big fan of it in single strike. One of my YouTube viewers, I want to say Jeremy, has been telling me about it since single strike existed, and I was like, it seems cute, but probably not good. But now that Umbreon's the focus of the deck, and I tried it, and it's really good. Like, it just feels so good to not have to research your urns and just be like, I'm gonna Piers for the 2 cards I want, and then research next turn once you have to earn because you used your attack. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Piers in that deck. Not probably anywhere else.
So Umbreon's
Yeah.
good. Now we got to make a grass deck because it's weak to grass.
I mean, Umbreon's just a good card. Bro,
But Leafeon.
so Boomer is on my list as well. Leafeon's really high. God, I love Leafeon, man. It's such a fun deck.
What about Leafeon Umbreon? You use the Leafeon ability to accelerate to the Umbreon, and the next turn you Gust, hit it with the Umbreon if it's weak to Dark. If it's not, you go on with Leafeon, and then Gust the Pokemon that has the biggest retreat cost. No? Okay.
I'm just gonna say no.
Leafeon
I'm just
Umbreon?
gonna no.
Evolution deck?
Bro, I actually hate saying no. I think this is the first time where I felt like sack your random jank ideas might work. The format is at the point where playing 2 completely random Pokemon is actually viable because you diversify your weaknesses. You can set them up because everything attacks for some sort of colorless energy. I don't hate it, but I'm going to say I hate
cards. Yeah, a lot of cards that are coming out, like Moltres, Umbreon, right, and Talion, Medicham. I saw a Medicham and a Zacian and Talion deck the other day.
Oh yeah, that's actually really good.
Right? Like a lot of the new cards coming out. Well, we'll get there.
Zacian still exists.
But
We
you
talked
can
about
tech
LMZ.
them into any deck you want. Like Moltres, how many decks has Moltres gone into that it just shouldn't go into? It went into Urshifu. Urshifu is a fighting Pokemon. It went into ADP. ADP doesn't take dark energies, but it's there. It accelerates to itself. I've seen it in so many things.
Leafeon
It goes in Leafeon. That doesn't make sense.
Tier
either.
1.
Well, but like a lot of the new cards can make a lot of decks versatile, and the matchups are a lot better because of your versatility. So I think like if you just put 2 random cards together, it'd be nice.
All right, let's get some
But
questions
if you want,
from
like,
Twitch
bad
chat
ideas,
because we've
I
got
have
a
a
handful.
lot of them.
Sorry to interrupt you, but also I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah, no.
So Lucas asked 2 questions, one for someone else. So I want to get to the other question Lucas asked because I think it's a good one first. And it's simply, what is the best way to test for this tournament? So what's the best way to prepare and or test for this type of tournament where you're on a time crunch and whatnot?
Not the latter.
Well, yeah.
You do run into a
Redeem-
lot of post-rotation decks on ladder,
Yeah.
which hurts the testing quite a bit. Like some decks are fine as post-rotation builds, but they're just worse. They're actively worse.
Find your favorite streamer and redeem channel points and challenge him to
Just
best
challenges
of 3.
over and over again.
Yeah.
What is this little stream next? Hold on.
Probably
It is.
Thursday. I hope he takes
Yeah.
tomorrow off.
Got a lot of channel points. Saved up.
What else?
Yeah. Okay, how I'm testing is on the ladder, but how you should be testing is you should have picked a deck when Evolving Skies came out and played that for a week straight and knowing all the matchups. I think it's better to be more familiar with the deck you're playing than try to metagame something.
Yeah, I think just playing tournaments too
Yeah.
is probably the best way. Although last night, looking at it, 5 of the top 8 are Shadow Rider, and the top 3 are Dark decks. So
I think
well, I guess
the correct choice is just play a deck. Like there's just not enough time to jump decks, and I know I'm hopping decks because that's where that's how I have fun right now. I prefer fun over results. I know I'm ruining my own clout. Sucks. But if you really want to prepare, pick whatever deck it is and just grind it in because you don't have time to hop decks over and over.
Yeah, what were the top comments? You know, we've had with Robin and Henry, both of them, Azul even said, just know your deck.
Yep.
And the best way is to have one deck and know every card so you can, map out your prizes right away and just know the strategy against every type of archetype that you're going to face.
It's like when I was, when I just picked up Pikarom and every single thing I did with it was successful. I checked my prizes in 30 seconds or less because I knew every single thing. I knew my outs. I knew the order of operations between speed energy. I'm going to research. Do I attach or not? I know what are the odds I'm going to draw into a speed energy. Like that's just automatic because I put so many freaking reps into the deck. And that's, like you said, every good player has said that. It's not the fun way to test necessarily because I'm going to play some Zoroark box. I'm not playing it for POG. It is god-awful in open deck lists for sure. Because your Golisopod and your Flapple are way less surprising when your opponent sees them before the match starts. But
and again, day 1, you just need to win 7.
Yes.
So if you know your deck and you're ready to go, you should be able to have decent results at least. And
then at day 2, I mean, it's still pretty much the same thing. You might tech for the meta. That would be the call, right? Like if you really know LMZ and you're like, I think it's still a good play, maybe you change some techs because you're like, oh, some Joker's going to bring Desi, right? Like I think there's going to be a bunch of Desi players. There's something like that, right? You can be like, okay, I'm going to play an 8/. But yeah, just whatever deck it is play the deck you know. That's the best way to prepare. And every regional that I've been successful in, that's been what I've done, right? It's like, this is the thing I've grinded at Cups. This is the thing I've been playing. I'm not trying anything cute. It's just like, here is deck. Deck is good. I do good. Hooray. Like that's
it's possible to see, like, there's so many different viable decks out there on this metagame that we have going on for POG. It's possible to see a different deck every single round.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be hard to, like, if you tech for somebody, you might win one game because of your tech, but then you have 9 other decks that you have to beat because that's how so many different decks there are in the meta.
Yeah, that's another reason to know your deck. There's at least 500 people and potentially 6-7 plus in each pod. You're going to run into jank. The more you know your deck, the better you're going to be against jank. Because as someone who has brought jank to tournaments and done better than I was supposed to, it's just because people don't know what they're doing. And you can take advantage of that. So that's another reason to know your deck.
Yeah, you know your outs to weird situations. It's like, let's say you get the Glaceon. Okay, well, this V doesn't work that well, and I only have one of the other one. Like, At least you know like how to pick your moments and whether you can win the match or not.
Yes, that's also
Just
big.
by knowing it and then playing different, and maybe the latter is the better way to practice because you're gonna see just as much jank.
I felt so bad testing Flaffy Raichu, and the amount of decks I ran into are running 4 switches, and it's like, no one's gonna run 4 switches. Or 5
My
switches
Leafeon.
like some people who challenged
My
me.
Leafeon.
Who plays 5 switch? Was it an escape rope?
Yeah, there was an escape rope in there.
I played 4 switch and 2 escape rope against Mellow.
Yeah, against my Raichu deck. Like, the deck only has paralyze. Nothing else about that deck was good, except the fact that it could paralyze every single turn.
I told you to play the Coco VMAX too. You didn't. It's like I have to punish this man.
All right. Next question. Bob McDougal asks, thoughts on Control now that it has Zoroark? Sanders playing something like it this weekend. Did we all watch Sander? Sack, I saw you in chat.
Yeah,
I wasn't chatting, but I was watching.
Okay.
I was watching. He said himself that it's not good.
He did.
tweeted about it after stream.
It didn't look very good.
It's definitely not.
Good. Yeah.
He didn't play a Drillbird though, which is kind of fun. I like that possibility of not playing basic Pokemon anymore because you have so many techs. So it'll be fun to play against and a challenge for sure, but I don't think it's good. Just play Escape Rope or Switch or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just not good enough. Which is weird to say because we have a bigger card pool right now.
Yeah. And it's another open decklist hurt because he played a 0-1 Persian line, which on ladder is disgusting because you pull the Persian out of nowhere. You can't do that anymore. And that's just such a big deal.
Techs aren't going to be that surprising anymore because you sit down from your opponent and you can see they're 60. You're like, oh, you play a 0-1 Persian line. I have to worry about hand size at all times if there's a Zero in play, not just a Meowth. So, that'll be fun. But
Marnie being a major supporter, like, okay, you showed me what you just found. You're putting that at the bottom of your deck.
Yeah.
Like you're not. You're gonna have to work harder to get that.
We did see him lose to Marnie, essentially. Like, he could still play the game after, but by the time he got to play the game, it was like, you can't give up multiple prizes.
It's play an 0-1 by loading line.
Look, Sanders going to make day 2 because he's just better than almost everyone he's going to play against, but that doesn't... I'm not sold on Control. A lock deck might exist, but not Control.
Also, why play Control when you have so many fun, viable decks that are just better than Control already?
No.
It's a bad spot. Just play something more fun, enjoyable, and it's better than Control.
I mean, he's gonna play Excadrill. We know that.
Yeah. Well, Sanders gonna do it, but
yeah,
I don't think Control's that good.
I'm just trying to dodge him.
And Sander also doesn't think Control is good. He was very vocal about it on stream. He's like, I don't think this deck's quite there. And he's not someone to lie. I know people the top players meta manipulate. Maybe, but he's not one of them if that's true. Like, he's definitely very open about what's good and what's not, because he's just going to beat you anyway.
They're keeping that format viable, though. Camping gear, the booster shake. They're printing cards still to Zoroark itself and putting cards in the pool. So it'll be there at some point, but that doesn't seem very strong right now.
Stellar Wish Gaming asks, thoughts on the Ultra Ball reprint?
Yeah, we talked about this earlier.
Pretty good.
I don't have any gold ones, so not too early.
I have my League Cup ones IRL. That's all I need. Art's so
those are some nice art. Yep. But it'll be cool. I don't know what's going to be better, Quick Ball or Ultra Ball. It'll be nice for the VMAXs, but everybody plays Quick Ball already. Sometimes even in Expanded, I don't play Ultra Ball. I just play Quick Ball. So
and we could
see in a good spot.
A 4-2 split or something like that.
Yeah, I think 4-4 is probably going to be common, but I think the meta's it's not going to change too much. We lose the Dene and we have just Crobat, so higher counts of Crobat will be cool.
Which plays to a smaller hand.
Yep, you can discard hands, so that'll be cool. But we already have so many like searchable cards, it won't make a difference really. Like,
Well, yeah, go ahead.
if you're gonna play the Intellion line still, I'm gonna search my deck to try to find Urshifu VMAX. Right, I'm gonna play Incense over Ultra Ball because I'm conserving a lot of my resources by not discarding 2 cards. So there's like one deck that probably, well, like they probably still play Ultra Ball, but probably won't rely on it as much as like Incense or you still get Incense post rotation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lose Pecom, that's what it was.
Yep.
But like there's still like so many outs, so many ways to find cards, and like people still play basics, so that'd be fun. I don't think it'll change much though.
Well, I think they want us to play a little more out of the discard. You know, one of the cards that hasn't seen much play was Ditto, which I think is interesting.
Oh yeah.
So put stuff in your discard.
Dude, Moltres gets it.
Moltres is great, and the one thing I thought about right away was how we're losing stadiums with discard, Viridian essentially.
Yeah.
And what Hearth.
Yep.
So we're in a format. The only one that plays with any sort of discard is Training Court. So I think they're trying to help expedite getting stuff in the discard. There's the supporter that we haven't been announced yet, the Battle Compressor
Oh,
for
that's
2.
right. That card's
That won't be
it might be all right. But
Probably
but I think they're realizing that for the balance game, we're seeing it with no weakness policy other than the ice leaf badge.
Snow leaf badge.
Yeah. So we're getting some weakness prevention, but they want this whole every type can be played balance, and a balance between playing out of your deck and from the discard.
So
and also Peony, right? So you can get near prizes. So everything's available, right?
It'll be good for the Mewtwo decks, being able to discard their attackers.
Well, that's not.
Wait, hold on.
You don't have to tell me that.
I mean, if we had it, Welder Mewtwo with Umbreon would probably just be the VPIF.
Yeah,
that seems, because playing that deck, it's like you have to find your Umbreon and discard, and there's no card that does both. And that's. No. But I'm embarrassed by both of you and the rest of the community for missing the most obvious thing for Ultra Ball. That is, Mustard is now a viable card and a viable engine. We have been missing Ultra Ball for Mustard.
What are we getting off Mustard? There's no good attackers. What am I going to get, an Urshifu? Ugh.
You can get something. I don't know. You could Mustard. Why would you not want to Mustard?
You can go get Beedrill. You could go get Beedrill.
The better Mustard would be the single strike Mustard.
Yeah, and you get Incineroar too, right? The plus 30. That's a good card.
Yeah.
There's.
You're gonna play Archie now?
There's options.
Because you get more options to put stuff in discard with single strike versus what Rapid Strike's out of deck, right?
Single strike.
I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be good if we keep this supporter turn 1.
Nah, Mustard's good. It works with Lycanroc too. Ultra Ball to discard. Single strike Lycanroc with Mustard is back.
Okay, you're right.
Yep.
What?
Yes.
No. Okay, but also we have research in this format. Research and Marnie.
Yeah.
But who do you?
Marnie draws 5. Mustard draws 5, and gets a Pokemon.
Who do you want with Rapid Strike?
Nothing.
Mustard.
You don't play it for that. You play single strike Mustard for sure.
Yeah.
I would play Rapid Strike Mustard. Get Urshifu
just play,
and then Gale Thrust turn 1.
Just play Zora Octillery. Whatever other Rapid Strike Pokemon there.
Oh, single strike Embor. Sorry, not single strike Incineroar.
Embor. Yeah.
Before we get the angry YouTube comments. Shout out to everyone who comments on YouTube, by the way.
I think Beedrill might be the play, though.
Beedrill.
A one of Beedrill? I threw that in. I threw...
Just Archie's out the Intellion, and then you're like, well, I guess I'll ping somebody.
Why would you want to not use Drizzile?
Skip the whole point of the line.
Wait, isn't there a VMAX that does the same? The new VMAX we're getting?
Yes, you can use the Vaporeon VMAX to get out. You shouldn't. That sounds also awful. But single strike Mustard.
I pulled a Vaporeon. I was disappointed.
All right, we've been too deep into this Mustard train. Although I'm glad you were both as excited as I am about it.
We're going to have to bring Henry back on.
to muster. Burning Blaziken is more of a statement, but I think it's a good one to talk about. Tornadus and Umbreon,
Okay.
good in the POG format. Do you play
Tornadus?
Tornadus over Single Strike Urshifu?
No.
Oh,
Why not?
But
It's weak to lightning, not psychic.
yeah, if
he's
everyone's playing
full blitz.
Pikarom,
We're playing Pikarom.
it's good. I mean, I liked it. I didn't play a lot of it, but it's so powerful, and you keep your energy to hit hard.
That's a big deal.
I think it's the worst Urshifu.
My problem is it doesn't hit through Zamazenta, and you're turning one of the most popular decks from a near auto win to a near auto loss.
Right.
That kills
Yeah,
me.
and just the interaction, like it'd be a perfect suitor for Cheryl, to ramp up damage because it's so beefy. But then the scroll doesn't work, so like, okay, what do? You need to get your urns, and it's just too convoluted. And the deck's already clunky because you're running a stage 1 line, and you're running Houndooms. So unfortunately, not good. And I will have to concede to Mello that he was right, as of now, in his rankings, that Tornadus is bad.
Let's go. Although I was wrong because I put it below Celebi. Celebi is actively awful.
Right. It works in a post-rotation counter deck before evolutions, but
I was talking to a friend about Celebi. If you can Rhinen and then return KO people that are weak to grass. I don't know.
So Umbreon.
Yeah.
Moltres.
That's not bad.
Moltres. Umbreon, Moltres, and your
Use your
Shadow
3
Rider.
price. Oh, Celebi. No, I was talking about the VMAX, not the V.
Oh.
Yeah, the VMAX sucks.
How was the V better than the VMAX?
Yeah.
I mean, Single Strike
Shocker.
Urshifu
Oh my
too.
goodness.
One of the best things about the Single Strike deck, and one of the reasons why I think Single Strike Urshifu is also better than Tornadus, the Single Strike V is really good. Like 180 plus a couple strong energies KOs all Vs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's really good. I can't get behind Tornadus over Urshifu. Oh, also
Not
the
yet.
scroll. After playing it, because I was up against a Zacian deck, and I'm like, I literally can't win this matchup. Like, they're just gonna body me. And then I like Marnie into the scroll, and I'm like, oh wait, I literally can't lose this matchup. And I just throw a scroll on something, power something else up, and yeah, the scroll is so good.
Scroll's really good, and so is the memory charm.
Specifically
whatever
because the
it's
V
called.
is so freaking good.
The V is so powerful. And now you have free gust.
Also,
Like, come on.
Umbreon V hits harder than Umbreon V Max, right? It does 180 if you have damage counters on you instead of 160.
And you should have damage counters.
Yeah, because that's Houndoom's ability. So, and that math does matter, actually. It matters against evolving Vs.
Right,
just
and that's
regular
part,
Vs.
and that's part of the interaction, and that's why I've like, can I put Moo Cheese in there to knock off a little bit of damage? Because you really have to measure. There is some thinking to Single Strike. It does seem like ogre type. I just power up, I hit you.
You bang my head against the wall, hope it works.
Yeah. Me Single Strike, me hit hard. But like, there's actually like, okay, I need to attach a Single Strike energy because I can't take that damage, but I need to hit that 20 extra. So there is some nuance to it, which is it's nice, but
It's actually one of the most sequence-heavy decks we currently have, which is really weird to say, but knowing when to use Single Strike Roar, knowing when to Marnie the energy back, making sure you do earn first before, like, there's just little interactions where if you mess up one of them, you are just done.
Well, I think when Locke and I were playing it a lot, one of the toughest issue was when do you put down a second attacker and when do you put energy on them? Like, I think when I was playing Azul on release day, it's like, I'm putting it down as bait. Like, hopefully he gusts us up because he could take the KO because I want the other one to live. And maybe I put 20 damage on it so that he can one-shot it. But if he doesn't, then that's powered up, So it is a thinking deck to some degree, but yeah.
All right, let's do the next question. We have a lot more, and this is going to be a longer pod. I don't know why I thought we were going to be shorter.
You hate it.
I was like, I want to get done early so I can play Zoroark on stream because that deck's just it sucks. That deck sucks. I'll tweet out the list. I'll post it in the Discord. It's very fun. Like very, very fun. Anyway, Mew3 OP asks, is LMZ a good POG pick and why? I think we all agree, yes, LMZ is a
Yeah.
good pick.
Absolutely.
Why?
Can we start with the why?
You auto-win Rapid Strike Urshifu, assuming you're even the remotely competent LMZ player. I've beaten bad ones, but you should never beat a good LMZ player as Urshifu.
I think they might have to play Path. Urshifu might have to play Path
You
to
also...
beat the LMZ.
It doesn't, though, because you still have to two-shot it.
Yeah. Well, you play 2 Path. You just 2-shot on the bench. Oh, but then you still have like minus 60 damage. Oh,
Yeah.
Scrapper, Pat, yeah. And the
It's not pretty.
stadium.
They just go Malolana plus Crystal Cave to heal 150.
It's so
Like,
rude to
think of-
do that. Like you're taking 60 less with the Luke medal and the goggles. You're like, all right, minus 60. If you're up against the psychic Pokemon, you got resistance. If you're up against grass, you got resistance. It's like, so you're taking less, and then you go like Malolana, Crystal Cave, and then you go like, man, you really did nothing last turn, huh? You're like, I sure did. What are you gonna do?
Okay, so the question I guess would be tag call or the straight method, right?
I think Tag Call is it.
Oh,
Because Path of the Peak
Stadium.
bodies you. The Tag Call version beats Ice Rider more consistently than the other version does because of that. And Welder Mewtwo is a deck. How many people will play it? I don't know, but if you want to be at the top tables, it's going to be around you because I think it's one of the stronger decks. You want coding energy, so you want Tag Call. Not like 4 coding energies. That's excessive. But like you definitely want 1 or 2.
How many Malolana? 3 or 4?
I was actually talking with Fouché about this a bit because he was like, I don't know if it should be 2 Malolana and 1 Birdkeeper. I was like, I think 3 Malolana is just better because like Birdkeeper's cool, right? It's a switch card and you draw cards because your deck draws like a potato because you're loop metal.
Yep.
But the 3 Malolana's got to be right. I think 4 is excessive.
Yeah, I would go 2 or 3, in my humble opinion, of a Luke Metal player. And it was really hard to find dolls to switch into to heal. So I think like you have to go higher counts of Malolana and like higher counts of doll if you're playing Tag Call. Because then you just like want to heal and outlive everything, right? Like you're like, I don't care what damage I'm doing. If I can like heal all of the damage you're doing, I'm gonna win in the end. So I think that's what I would do if I was playing Luke Metal in the Tag Call version.
Can I throw a word out there? Orbeetle? Sackett? Any thoughts?
The VMAX?
Yeah.
You can play with Metachan, but I haven't tried it yet. But
that came into my head when you're saying outlive. I'm like, well,
yeah, because you get Cheryl.
I was
really cool.
Really into for like 45 seconds Leafeon Orbeetle until chat's like, what about Galar Mine? And I was like, oh, yeah, there's no synergy there because you want to retreat every turn. But
yeah,
or rope, 4 switch.
We're all playing VMAXs though.
No,
like I was playing like Orbeetle, like not good because like there's too many big Pokemon out there you just can't deal with. Like I was trying to play, right, bear with me here, where the story's going. But I was playing Cryogonal with Element Chain.
Yes.
And Baby Trio. I was just trying to play that. And almost every deck that I went up against didn't bench anything else. There was like, well, that's how the deck goes, right? But like if you were up against Orbeetle, no one's going to bench any little things, and everybody can go into a big giant VMAX. So like playing spread, just probably not viable at the moment, or like playing anything like that.
Playing Zoroark, where again, Golisopod and Flapple are like my best. There's an Aerodactyl in the list too, which hits really hard.
Okay. Yeah.
Also Dugong to pick off Sobbles. Heckin' fun. But anyway, Golisopod and Flapple. The question is, what if they don't do anything? Echoing Horn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many people did I body on ladder? Or maybe not even body, because it's still Zoroark's kind of bad. But like just the surprise KO out of nowhere of like, put that Suicune back on your bench. Oh look, my Flapple does 250 now. How fun.
Did we talk about Suicune at all?
Oh, we need to talk.
We
mentioned it, but we didn't talk about it.
You both
How many
watched
people
Henry
play
Brand,
Suicune?
right?
Yeah, Henry Brand plays it, Azul plays it, Celio plays it. There's so many people, like the Japanese players, like they're like the Jesse James.
Checkmate seems really good.
Checkmate version?
Stamp Jesse James and then just start taking knockouts.
I'm not a fan of Ontario, to be honest.
What?
No. Put it on the top of your deck?
I'm
and then
kind
you
of not
just
either.
draw it with Suicune's ability. Have you read Suicune?
It's good in one deck.
Yeah, and this is the deck we're talking about.
Oh, well, all right. So we're anyway. I was a bigger fan of the Inteleon engine or Azul's version with Mawile and Echoing Horn.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
like
a cool
that.
one too. Yeah.
You have to like fill bench. It doesn't matter if they have no cards in hand if you're doing 100 damage per turn. Because I didn't bench anybody because they have no cards in hand.
But the benefit to it, you're a two-prizer, so you get one extra at least turn essentially.
And I think the big thing, you can power yourself up out of nowhere because you're a
That's
two
right.
prizer and you only need Melanie attach. So like a VMAX deck, if you have no V on the bench, you literally just start crying and hit the concede button. This deck, you're like, whatever. Click ball. I have another attacker. We're good to go.
Dude, I thought, well, you have to find the Altaria to find the Melanie. It's like, now you're playing a Welder deck again, which wasn't great. But I think Suicune's probably going to see its best use in ADP. Get another attacker. You're already playing the Water Energy. You can add in a Melanie to come out of nowhere. You can play your Moltres for the Shadow Rider. You're going to be playing Mawile already because you got to hit those Dennis and Crobat. So, like, why not just fill your bench with, like, ADP, Suicune, Mawile, and Moltres? I think that'll be the deck.
But Mawile's attack, right? What's the difference? 50? 5 Pokemon. Your own 5 on the bench.
160, and
Yeah, you cap it
Suicune caps at 220.
Mm-hmm.
And
Plus ADP's attack, so it's like 250.
Add 30, yeah.
Yeah. Plus you get the consistency, right? We just talked about this. You get a draw card per turn.
But
It's inactive.
Which
But
is
the-
actually
but
a
the-
big difference maker.
But the idea behind ADP, right, is and Mawile is to put down their Dead Ace and Crobats, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, then it helps it fill bench for the Suicune. So you go like Mawile.
Oh, so you want both of them?
Yeah, you want both because then you go like Mawile and you have more poke on your bench for my Suicune attack, and also the more Pokemon on your bench would be like the Dead Ace or Crobot, hopefully.
I guess yeah.
Don't play either of those. Like they might play like a one of because you need to like go search for discard draw 6 sometimes when you just have a quick ball in hand. But like a lot of decks just don't even play either of those or many counts of those. So,
Well, the threat of Mawile, right, makes you play differently in open deck list.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And then to know they have a Suicune behind it, like
Oh yeah, we haven't mentioned Ludicolo Suicune as well.
yeah.
It's like even worse than the Altaria we just mentioned, in my opinion.
It does let you OHKO. That's your V OHKOing a VMAX is really, really good. I'm not gonna play it. I'm 100% gonna tell everyone right now I am not playing Ludicolo Suicune for POG, but
I don't think you even have Ludicolo's.
if you want a high roll, ooh.
Do you play the top entry version of it, or do you play the I'm gonna rare candy it?
Both.
Both? Fair enough.
No, I don't rare candy. I play top entry, but you still play. So like Azul was playing a 0-4-3 line or something janky like that. You have to play the basic, whatever that. Lombre? No, Lombre is the. Someone is currently yelling at their phone, telling me what the name is. But
it's Lombre. Yeah.
Is it Lombre? The basic?
It's Lotad is the basic.
Lotad.
Yeah.
Okay, Lotad.
Lotad.
Yeah, you have to play Lotad.
Lotad.
But you play top entry too because it's too good. Like, have you ever top decked
like
a top
Nugget.
entry Pokemon?
You ever top deck Nugget?
I have actually. Shout out to Nugget.
I've watched Azul top deck his one of Nugget.
Oh, that was good. That was in an actual tournament.
Electrocharger? Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I'll put in an Electrocharger in there," and it's useless, right? Because we don't have E-Power anymore. And he was like, "Whoa, we just played Nugget," and then he got like stamped at 2 or something and drew Nugget, or into 4 plus Nugget. That was so good, so good. I imagine that's like the same as top entry.
There's natural synergy, right, with the Oranguru,
Mm-hmm.
and then with the Suicune itself. But I mean, how much path? I think I was saying it before the pod started. How much path do you think is going to be played? I don't think it's
less than last format.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much swell still in this format.
There's also going to be less swell. I think stadiums are quote unquote less important.
Yeah.
This format, which is one reason I think LMZ is also very good. Less path plus less likely to bump Crystal Cave is really good.
Urshifu's playing 2.
Yeah.
One of the top decks in the format is playing 1 one tower and one dojo, maybe it's 2-1 kind of count, but like only 3 stadiums from like the top deck in the format. Shadow Rider now just plays just solely path, so you can path hit somebody and then bump it with Marshadow on the next turn. It's like maybe 1 or 2 count. So like top decks don't. Of course, we just talked about Eternal earlier. They're going to be playing 3 swell, but yeah, stadiums aren't that important anymore. So
well, because you have like Dark Box plays Viridian, which you're like, okay, play Viridian. I don't care. Like it helps them, but it helps you too, right? Ice Rider has gone away from 4 path. It feels like to go into a lesser count of path, which is a really big deal in certain matchups.
I think they transitioned from trying to cheese somebody with path to like, let's be a good deck now. And I think that's an important direction to take.
And that's why it's gone away.
Because
it's not a good deck.
No, it's still out there. People,
that was a good.
It feels like something people are still clinging to. Like I feel like Suicune is better than Ice Rider, and it's just people who play Ice Rider are like, why would I play Suicune when I can play the deck I've been playing?
Yeah, the efficiency of Suicune, I think, just makes it better than Ice Rider.
Yeah,
of course you have to fill their bench and you're doing 30 less, but like, look at all these cool cards I can play now because my engine's different.
And that too, it goes back to the Mawile thing, right? Like it makes you play differently when you know I can't put things down unless I need it, and if I do it, will I get punished for it?
For sure.
Next question. We're going to take a quick break from the Pokemon questions. Slapjacks13 asks, what is the best dish containing fish? So you're going to a fish place. High end, low end, it's up to you.
Crab Rangoon.
Boy, do I not like fish.
I don't
like seafood.
Like, bro. Very good though. Crab Rangoon is, oh bro, I can eat way too many of those.
Yeah.
My heart should be stopping after like 2 of them, but gosh,
I don't like seafood.
You're in Seattle. Yeah, sushi. It's got to be sushi.
Person, yeah.
Oh, sushi. Yeah. Oh, sushi's good. I like sushi. Yeah, I can go for some sushi right now.
What's your favorite roll?
So, what is it? We go to this place. It's a Latin Japanese fusion place. So whatever the roll is doesn't exist except by their head chef. But it's got like a strawberry glaze over it. It's like slightly sweet with salmon. Ooh, it is. It's like $25 a roll. So I have to limit myself to 1, but it's really good.
How big is it?
It's a roll. It's like 8 pieces. It's not, you don't order this for quantity. You order this one for quality.
Yeah. I always get the variety pack, like bring me out like a plate and have all of them you could try from. That's what I go with when I get sushi. Also, I don't like seafood, so I don't get seafood that often.
Yeah, so. I think you're farther from the ocean than I am.
Yeah, Wisconsin, we have a lot of lakes here. It's not really a lot of seafood or fish.
Little lake trout roll.
That is a fish.
We've got a few good places here, but
I can't remember the last time I had fish for anything. It's been a while. It's usually like steaks and burgers or tacos.
I'm trying to think if there's any other fish dish that I would eat.
Last time I went to a fish place. Shout out anyone from Seattle. We went to Aqua. Oh, really good. Speaking of bougie places that are, well, quantity was there because it's also a steakhouse, but I got a steak. That's the moral of that story because steak is really good.
Yeah.
So I will always pick steak over fish.
And you're in fish capital of the world, right?
Yeah. I'm not saying I don't like fish. Fish is very good. Good salmon is good. Not a fish, I know, but crab.
Yeah.
I agree with Grant. Crab, lobster, which I'm on the wrong side of the country for lobster, but it doesn't matter.
Closer to, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, crab is the natural thing here. Crab, salmon, the cold water fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad question, Slap. Good answers though. We made up for
it. Someone time Slap out of chat.
Yeah, go back to space.
iPod Memorizer asks, should Worlds be a pre-rotation or a post-rotation format?
Pre-rotation, 100% every time.
Probably should be pre-rotation, right?
For reference, Worlds has always been pre-rotation within recent memory, except 2019, which is the last Worlds. That was the first one that was post-rotation. And
it was like 2009 where it just didn't even rotate.
Oh yeah, there's was recent memory, but yes. There's
2011 where it rotated before nationals.
the emergency rotation because what was it, Sable Donk?
Let's get Sableye out of here because it can go first and attack.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like in general, anything you do a whole season of one thing, and you're set to it, and then it's like we're gonna give you new stuff, and that's going to be how you decide who's the best of the last year.
Yeah,
there was
it's convoluted.
I'm also a fan of pre-rotation. Preparing for post-rotation that Worlds was really fun because no one knew what was going to happen. Unfortunately, everyone played Malamar, which made all the rogue decks worthless. We tested a lot of rogue decks, and it was like, oh, Behemoth's really good, except we can't beat Malamar, so we can't play. This is stuff like that. Whatever. I'm a fan of pre-rotation because I remember that Worlds, people were complaining, they earned their whole invite with Zoroark, and now they're like, I can't play Zoroark again. And stuff like that.
Just too good.
Let people play if they want to play. I mean, Zoroark would have been good for that turn, sure. But like, if someone wants to play Pikarom at this Worlds because they earn their invite with Pikarom, I'm a fan of let them play it with Pikarom. Like, don't rotate.
Yeah, they do these blocks by year, essentially. And
we went the entire season, and we don't even get to play the cards for Worlds. So like, why do we play that format the entire season?
I think they're starting to come around to it as far as like caring about players, as we're seeing. They gave us Sabrina and Bryson thanks to us here on the pod. They're at least telling us when Gengar's coming because of us here on the pod,
for sure.
So they're starting to think about we're out here advocating for the player, and the fun fact is we'll keep spending the money. Yeah. Don't worry about the income. You're printing pieces of cardboard.
I will have opened 10 boxes for this.
Right. We'll spend the money.
Well, it'll come. It'll happen, Pokemon. You don't have to worry about it.
Right. They're giving us a new client, sounds like. How great. We'll see what kind of things that provides, right? We talked about it earlier, but
let me buy some skins.
Let's work together. Yeah.
Now we're talking. I will.
Deck mats, more sleeves.
Bro, a Magikarp deck box, $20. Here you go.
Dude, I'm hoping for dust.
That'd be nice.
Just have to avoid all that.
Because I'd be shocked if locked cards don't go away. They seem pretty content with that.
Yeah.
H2WM asks, question for Grant. Nebraska football, Keck W. Not a question.
So what?
Grant, do you have a rebuttal to Nebraska football, Keck W?
No comment.
Okay.
You guys lose this weekend or what?
It's not a good time to be a Husker. Let's put it that way.
Is it ever?
Season's off to a rough start.
You're Husker.
You're Nebraska.
Get a real mascot.
Doesn't matter what you are. I mean, just in Nebraska.
I mean, that's the big problem is that we have so much money to spend, and to put a bad product on the field is very embarrassing. So good luck, Arkansas, in your SEC schedule. H2, he kneecapping me here with questions on the pod. Come on, guy.
Or she asks, besides N, what would you rather have reprinted over Ultra? I actually have to think about this. Tapu Lele. Or some sort of Lele. Actually, no.
We have Eldegoss.
That's literally the opposite.
But yeah, it's the same thing though. Just put it in your discard now. Yeah.
No, give me Lapras reprint. Let me scoop up Net as well. I don't think that's broken. Yeah.
Do I have to have something to reprint, or can I have like a different response to that?
Ooh. What do you got?
I'm a fan of formats being ever changing, right? Like, hey, adapt to the format. It's a new game. You want to go play a different format? Just go play that format. Like, if I want to go play with like N being in the format, then I would just go play a format with N in it. Like, I would play the same game that I've been playing for the past how many years now, right? So like, I'm like a fan of like new things coming out that I haven't seen yet. New concepts coming out. Like, if you reprint it, cool, it's another tool I get to use, but like, I'm just going to adapt to the cards you give me and play the game that I like playing because that's what you decided was fun. Like, I don't need to see cards reprinted. Like, I didn't need to see the Electric Dynamotor or Mally again. I can recharge. It's cool. I've seen that that
All right, what do you got?
before, but
Give us a new supporter.
well, I don't have like a new supporter coming up, but like I would like to see alternate win conditions. Like not Lost World. Like don't give me Lost World again. Or like Unknown Hand. And Hand was insane.
Hand
right?
would be fun.
We had like the control, right? The walls. We had the Vileplume Luke Metal that everyone enjoyed playing. That Unknown Handed people. But then we also had Headache Psyduck that played Umbreon Darkrai for the thing that said you can't play trainers. How cool would that be with the new Milotic? Or like the Salazzle build, there was the Porygon with the Amogas and the speed energies and draw energies and scoop ups, right? I don't want to see like N reprinted or like we got Ultra Ball back, but like give me another way to win the game besides
we're gonna need
I
something.
took 6 prizes. Yeah. Like,
we're gonna need something.
Like damage was cool. Missing was just like, well, you tried. Lost World was like, you tried. But like, there's so many cool things that you could do with this game. Then we don't need more reprints of cards that we've already seen before.
We do need Unknown Missing.
No, that card could be immortal, and no one would ever pull it off.
12?
Right? Could it ever get a win?
Yeah, it was 12 supporters.
12 supporters in the Lost.
People even play 12 supporters.
Yes,
like Pikarom plays 11, I think.
So 4, 8, 12.
Yeah.
But
I think Pikarom plays maybe 10. It'd be 3 boss, 3 research, 4 Marnie is the Pikarom build currently, and if you play Yelnut or not. You don't even have 12 supporters in your deck. Well,
like ADP is 4 research, 4 boss, right? And maybe a Marnie or 2. Yeah. Eternatus is less now that they have Umbreon. Yeah, Unknown Missing.
This is weird, right?
Although
I tried it,
I expanded.
100% tried it. I put it like the Slow King, the one that's like, put it like lose your opponent's hand, put a card there into the Lost Zone. Tried that one. Tried Giraffe. And then people just didn't get 12 supporters in play for me to see. But definitely tried it. That was a cool win condition. For sure.
But with like no possibility to they prize. Yeah, I played 12, but I prized one.
Yeah,
you're never gonna see it.
It's gonna be in the deck forever. Yeah.
Well, okay, so we do need some sort of balancing mechanic in the game going forward, because Marnie's the only comeback type potential, and that's putting him at 4.
Well,
right.
So I don't think we need hand disruption as a comeback mechanic. I think the community has to embrace healing and sniping or multi-prize turns as comeback mechanics.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Like I think that's the big. We don't need N. I do like N. I want N back, but I think if the community can acknowledge playing a Cheryl could be your comeback mechanic, I think we'll start to understand that you don't automatically lose the game on turn 2.
Yeah. Dude, okay, so I play a lot of deck, right? And sometimes I find myself in the Cheryl elo, right? You're like, I made it to the Firebox elo, we Shadow Rider sometimes, you get E-turn. And then like sometimes you find yourself in just the jank elo, and you get bodied by a random Cheryl. You're like, all right, Tandem Shock here, 160, do it again next turn, and they go Cheryl, you're like, not really what I was looking for there. Where did that come from? And like, I think it would be a lot better comeback mechanic and healing cards like that. Like, we don't need Stamp to 1 plus Path to cheese somebody out of not being able to return KO. But like, just set up your board state better. Like, give us more cards to set up your board state so you can take multi-price turns, or you can like heal. Like, I don't need a max potion for VMAXs, but like, being able to heal more so you can't take multiple KOs. I think that'd be pretty cool to have in the format as well, instead of like Stamp to 1 or End to 1 plus Path.
What was the one I mentioned it the other day, and somebody came up with the 6 to 3, flip a coin or whatever.
Oh, I thought you were gonna talk about Ace Trade.
Was that you? Illima, yeah, that was you, right?
Bro, someone played that against me in Dallas. I was playing Sable Guard, and they're like, "I text for you, Illima," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, reprint Illima.
We had a person at locals that played that. And I was like, what?
That card. I won the game purely because when it mattered, I flipped heads and they flipped tails, and I was able to hand lock them the next turn.
Yeah,
I was like,
I think that's fair.
I don't play rock paper scissors, but give us Team Galactic's wager. You guys ever play that card?
No.
You play rock paper scissors, and then the winner like shuffles draw 3 or like a bit more than the loser. I never played it, and whenever a person was like, "Hey, Team Galactus wager," or like Dan or something, like I suddenly don't know how to play rock paper scissors, and we're gonna have to flip a coin.
Yeah, I wish Dan had more consequence and reward. Like
Right?
those are fun cards.
Get good at
Blaine's
rock paper
quiz
scissors.
show and stuff. Like those are fun cards that we could play.
Blaine's quiz show is so fun and cute.
They got
It's
banned,
so
right?
good. You're just
Like
like,
the language.
well, there's Wizards of the Coast ones, and you like say a Pokemon, they have to guess the length or something like that. It's so good. You're just like Furret, and they're like 3
Oh my God.
feet.
There's
Like
a-
I don't freaking know.
No. There was a deck that someone had in like in a limited or whatever it was. You just play Blaine's Quiz Show and just a bunch of stuff like that. And like there's a lot of those cards out there over the years. And the entire purpose of the deck was you'll never get a turn and you have to keep guessing like what card it is. Like I'll put down a card, you have to guess it, and then you get it wrong, and I get to play my game some more. And like you'll never get it right because you'll never know what card it is. There's 25 years of Pokemon, and you'll never guess it correctly.
Lucas Oldale asks, "What's the best pick for POG?"
Well, he's gonna play Luke Metal now, right?
Probably,
Yeah.
which is, I would not put it as the top pick, but I'd put it pretty high up there.
Like number one in a tier by itself is Urshifu.
I agree. I think if you don't know what to play and you have played Rapid Strike Urshifu before, it's the play. It's the best deck in the format.
Oh, good with Medicham and Raihan,
On.
Phoebe. Hold on. It's so good with those tools. Like you'll be decked down in prizes, you can come back. You can win almost any match besides the metal. So I think that's probably the best pick.
Grant, do you agree?
Yeah, I think you have, like, if you want to play the best deck, it is Rapid Strike, and then I'd say the sleeper pick would have to be Luke Metal. Of the top 4 or 5, you're gonna see so many Shadow Rider, but you know, Rapid Strike just seems too overpowered. If you're smart, if you've played it, don't just pick it up and play it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
like
yeah, it's a big brain to
watching
what-
Azul beat, or sorry, Alex beat Azul. People
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, they got lucky," and it's like, Alex knew
I-
exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like,
He knows that matchup. He
Yeah,
knows it.
I couldn't play it. As Henry Brand pointed out to me, I can't map my prizes, so I can't play a deck like that. I need a single strike where it's like, all right, if you have a 3 prizer, I'm gonna knock it out. Like I'm straightforward. I can figure my own side out, but I can't really map it like that. But it is. You have to have familiarity, and I'd say the same with Luke Metal. You need to have played the deck
Mhm.
before as well. You can't just pick it up and play it. It is actually a really complicated deck to master.
yeah, it's one of those
sure.
decks where it's not hard to play if you've played it, but if you've never played it, those first handful of games are going to be miserable experiences where you're going to think the deck sucks. Or I guess
Like,
both.
this deck is terrible.
Yeah,
And, it's not.
Yeah, if you want to pick up a deck and play it,
E-turn's pretty good.
E-Turn and even Shadow Rider, if you just know, if you're playing Gengar Mimikyu and the Cake, to know when to do which one.
yes. Do not cake early.
Do not cake early.
I've definitely beaten people who are like, "I'm going to take a big Oko turn 3 with cake," and it's like, you ain't got no energy left, bud. This is free.
The Cake has a specific reason. The Cake is the closer. It's Mariano Rivera.
Dude,
Like,
I'm
don't-
thinking E-turn by not going into any Shadow Riders at all. Just going into Cake, and it's like, well, I have 0 Shadow Rider VMAXs in play, but Cake carried me hard. But you got to know when to Cake for sure.
That's another
Like, if
option,
you-
depending how many rods and energies you play, because to
Mhm.
KO2 VMAX, Eternatus VMAXs, you probably have to hit the exact amount of energy every single time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're set up, I guess, or if you're about to get set up, and you play 4 retrievals, maybe, it might be viable to string 2 attacks and to spread the energy early on. But like, if you do that, you have to realize you've limited your draw power then from getting energy out of your deck. Like, you
Only
can't
risk profile.
research energy because it's spread out on the board, and then if they KO you, you're only 310. So you're
Mhm.
pretty low hanging cake.
I would agree. I think E-Turn is the best play for anyone who is inexperienced. Because easy to pick up, very powerful. Umbreon, very good. Moltres, very good. Umbreon plus Moltres, very good.
Bad.
Research and play every card that you just drew into.
Yeah, just
Do it
it's
again next
not
turn.
having to manage your bench too is I think one of the reasons why the skill level on Eternatus is so generally low.
Mhm.
It doesn't punish you as hard as other decks do for Crobat every turn, right? Or being like, I have a Pokemon, I'm gonna play it. Like, why'd you
Oh my
play that?
goodness.
I don't know. Well,
Dude,
this deck,
Ultra
you're
Ball?
fine.
E-Turn gets Ultra Ball now. That's insane. You're already playing 4 Crobat, and you're playing all these Pokemon that you can just discard, but E-Turn gets Ultra Ball.
Yeah, like, please path me so I can clean off these Crobats.
Yeah, that's lovely.
DeLocke asks, are you streaming your POG run? I will be streaming my day 1 on twitch.tv/mellow_Magikarp. If I make day 2, I'm not even sold how hard I want to try for day 2 because it starts at 5 a.m. my time. I will probably not be streaming day 2 if I make it. I am just hoping I wake up on time to start.
I'll be streaming, but like watch Mellow or Azul or something.
Yeah, there will be a lot of people on that day.
Yeah. I go watch someone else.
I might. I don't know.
Better.
We'll see. I did last year.
Oh, yo.
Yeah, come watch me rounds 8, 9, or 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. Come around, watch me those rounds. I go Zul. I have made it 7-0. Mellow will be there at 7-1.
Yeah,
Sure.
Like there'll be drops. Come watch me then.
There's still a
That'd be
chance
great.
I play Green Speaker on, at which point I will be 2-4 drops.
Dude, same
I-
60. I'm in. Do
I
we
think-
get Pikarom, Greens, take all?
It's all the good stuff we're losing in one deck.
One last ride.
I think the
Except for
problem
Empire.
is that still exists, and it might not matter for someone like Azul, but screen sniping still is a thing.
Oh, I'm getting sniped for
And-
sure.
Yeah, and if it's a try hard type deal, like if I get paired against Mello, I would screen snipe him. I've said that out loud before.
You have
Only him. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
only to
would.
lose still. Like I'm
I
gonna
mean,
go stream stuff with Zul and get bodied.
I mean, I don't when if I challenge him like the other day, challenging him, I don't screen snipe him. But like if I get him in a tournament, like I'm going to beat you, and I have this ahead of me, and I've said it out loud before. But one, it's a dumb thing to do, and people still do it for some reason. And two, you don't want to cause extra confusion and having all the judges, and you're messing up this massive tournament that they're having to wait and do judge calls and things like that. So it is best to leave the bigger streamers to stream it, I guess. I mean, stream it if you want, but like, especially this one, just becomes, which is weird to say, because this is what started our team and everything. But it is messy and it takes time, and it's already a really long tournament, and there's 2 pods and it's 2 days. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. Maybe not. Can always do a delay, I guess.
Oh, that's true. Do one of those hand things. Try this sick idea of like I'll like screenshot a hand on PTCGO and then like copy paste that as an image over to my overlay.
Oh.
So then they'll stream snipe me and they'll see that I have Boss, Research, Marnie, Stamp, Energy, Switch, Air Balloon, Charm, and it'll be like a 20 card hand. And like they'll look at PTCGO and I'll have a 1 card hand, but they'll look at my stream and I'll have a 20 card hand of everything.
That's actually the idea right there. We might need to get
Yeah.
Dylan on it. Integrate a randomizing, you insert your deck and randomize a hand.
Dude, my computer definitely get a hand of that. Yeah, I'm a stream because this entire week I haven't been able to stream much. Lately, I haven't been able to stream much, and it'll just be an opportunity to stream. Come hang out, be chill, have a good time, play Pokemon. You can stream snipe me, but then like, good on you for winning a Pokemon online tournament Saturday afternoon. Really hope you're having a lot of fun doing that. So.
But I want to spend 16 hours and win $25, okay?
I know. Or I could go to work for 16 hours and make 30.
Did you say legally stream?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, last year
Adjective.
I made maybe it was
Adverb.
$20, $22. And that was for what, 10 hours day 1 because of delays. Thankfully, it should be better now.
Yeah.
And then like 6 hours day 2. So that's over $1 an hour. That's pretty good. That's more than I usually make on Twitch.
More than $1 an hour.
It could be work. It could be work.
I've had 12-hour stream days where it's like you make $0 an hour.
You could be sewing Nike shoes for less, but you got big hands.
That is true. I was thankfully born properly.
Yeah.
I worked hard with it. Get Wrecked asks, and we've already kind of answered this, but what is stopping Urshifu from just winning?
Which one?
I assume he means Rapid Strike Urshifu.
Yeah. Luke Metal. Luke Metal stopping it from winning. Also, I think Sylveon will be an underrated. Hey, good luck, have fun with this matchup. .tech. So
yeah, it's another one of those like I don't really know what I'm playing against because you're not going to see it a lot until it's too late. Like you know what it does, but how do I play against it? Because it's not. I mean, you can watch 1 or 2 YouTube videos, but that's it.
Yeah, it's Luke Metal stopping it. Potentially Dark Box, but also not necessarily Dark Box.
People not playing Mew.
Not knowing how to play the Shadow Rider matchup is stopping it from winning, but like Alex Szymanski's literally one of the first names signed up for Pod 2.
Yeah.
If you're a Shadow Rider player and you're playing him, you better play really well because he knows what he's doing, unlike most Urshifu players.
Yes, you're telling me Pod 1 Shadow Riders are way to go. Got it.
The Gyroscope Eevee asks, and this will be the last question. How do you feel about the diversity in the format, but with a lack of anything that gives up less than 2 prizes? I mean, my bench sitting Inteleons give up less than 2 prizes. Does that count?
Yeah, I actually think
on the bench and give up 0 prizes because no one knocks them out.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair right now, honestly.
Dude, this is probably my favorite format since pre-Sword and Shield era, where you played Tay, call it peek around with like 1 Absol, 1 Jirachi, 1 Escape-Board. Like post-Cosmic Eclipse.
Ooh, that was
yeah, Rip Jirachi, by the way.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite format. When I go back, I'm going to want to play 2021 Worlds format. 2021 World format. I want to play like this POG format for a while. There's so many cool decks out there. I think it's great. And I don't want to play post rotation. Like I'm going to go to my locals and we have a week, maybe 2 weeks of post rotation decks that we'll play, and then pre rotation decks, and then we're going to go post rotation. It's going to suck. Like, all right, well, I enjoyed that 2 weeks, and it's not going to be long enough. But I think this format's going to be so sick. You get terrible fun decks like Rayquaza. You get the good decks like Urshifu. You get Shadow Rider. You can even play Blissey again if you want. You still get Travenor, which is good. ADP gatekept decks for so long, and it's terrible now. Like ADP is so bad, like no one's worried about it.
There's going to be one
just play Drizzle.
Book it.
Probably.
I'll call that.
It's going to play Suicune Birds. Go play Suicune and Moltres. That's my call. Is the ADP how it's going to be built. But like, there's decks that kept other decks for so long, and they're bad. And it's so versatile. Like how many decks did we just list off on this podcast? We got like Urshifu, Shadow Rider, E-Turn, Dark Box, Luke Metal, Ice Rider, Suicune, ADP,
Leafeon.
Leafeon, right? Glaceon got mentioned. Umbreon got mentioned. Single Strike's out there. Just so many different builds of Single Strike. This format is so great. Even like we mentioned Desi, right? We'll mention it again, even though Gamer doesn't want us to.
No leaks.
And even like Control was not that bad. Like you'll get got by Control every once in a while, but like it's not great, but it's in a good spot against some matchups. Pikaram's still good, fan favorite, so probably one of my favorite formats to play in a long time. It's gonna suck for post rotation, even though no one likes tag teams anymore.
Yeah, this is it's so interesting to think about because remember how much everyone hated on ADP, and it wasn't ADP, it was just the format.
Yeah, nothing that beat ADP. Like, we didn't go into the Drizzles. ADP sucked, not when the better cards came out. Like, it wasn't good. It didn't lose because of Shadow Rider or Urshifu or Rayquaza. It lost because people stopped playing Dedenne and Crobat.
Well, and E-Turn was a difficult, you had to play Charm, you had to find your Charm, you had to do your whole trick.
Yep. Yeah,
and then not get run out of the building still.
Right. You'd have like some unfavorable matchups, but When I was playing ADP, I didn't play ADP that often, right? Don't hit on me that much. But I started losing when there was no Dedenne and Crobat in any list anymore. Like I paired up against an Urshifu, and I had to go KO Urshifu VMAX and KO Drizzile. You know how hard it is to KO an Urshifu VMAX? I'm doing 180 per turn. Like I can't OHKO it. What am I gonna do? You get 2 more turns to play with, because I can't OHKO your Pokemon. Or if I do, I only get 2 prizes for it. I can't go boss game. So like things like that are got well balanced. I think that'll make this format pretty fun.
Yeah, I enjoy this format. I think it's fine. Even I'm a Spiritomb fan. Spiritomb is dead, unfortunately. Single prize decks are largely dead. A Rapid Strike Malamar, if you want a budget deck, not easy to play, not a beginner friendly deck, but I think it's viable. Yes, you lose to Astral Barrage, but you can beat just about everything else in the format. So
there's so many decks that we didn't even mention.
There are single prize decks that kind of exist.
I can give you one. Is it what, Morpeko?
The
for the replacement?
No,
yeah,
that
no, the
thing
little
sucks. The empty hand one.
No, isn't there a new one that replaces Spiritomb? The same thing.
Oh yeah, no, that one sucks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, the deck's dead. It's because you just can't have stuff with 0 HP anymore because of quick shooting.
Yeah,
yeah.
You get Metachammed a lot harder.
Yes, that too. Yeah, it's long dead. Super unfortunate. Yeah, single prize decks still exist. I think it's also unexplored because like the online meta, and I've said this on stream before, but like everyone says like, oh wow, this deck did really well. I'm gonna play it. And then people play it. And then eventually a Japanese player plays Togekiss. And everyone's like, wow, I'm gonna play Togekiss. And then everyone plays Togekiss, right? And then that's just how the online meta works compared to the IRL meta. Online meta, everyone's like, this deck's cool. My turn. Versus IRL, they're like, that deck's good. Let's beat it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need to get back to IRL, and we need to get closed deck lists so we can keep our secrets and and get more points and get to London.
Easy.
If that ever happens.
I think I'm done keeping secret for decks that I'm playing because every time I try to keep something
we know. You've spilled all of our beans already.
Well, for like mine, because I've had it in the past where I come up with something cool and then like I don't tell anyone about it, and then someone comes up with something better or like a better version of my list, and then no one knows that I was the original person. Like I'll just create something bad, right? Give it to someone better, right? You guys can make this better, and then you can play and have a lot of fun with my cool deck that I came up with. So I
guess that's why online was better, because I could play Relish, and then somebody does well with it. I said, well, I played this a month ago and post the screenshot.
So many decks got viable because we like came together as a community and worked on a deck list. Like Relish, you said. Boo had this cool idea, and then like everyone came together, contributed a little bit here, a little bit there, and came up with a cool concept for the deck.
Yeah, except they put too many Marnies in.
Right?
Zach, where can the people find you at?
Sack17 on Twitch. I'll be streaming POG. And then over on Twitter, Sack_17, where you can see all my tweets, where I tweet out all my list and all my leaks. Yeah.
They're not
take all peek around.
They're not all good leaks. But they are
fun
leaks.
They're leaks. There's ADP Blounds on there, I think, is the
Japan
tweet. Japan did, or ADP Gyarados. I beat Tord with that, so that's my claim to fame right now. Tord and Danny in the Azul sub tournament.
You beat 2 international champions in one tournament with ADP Gyarados.
With ADP Gyarados. For those of you that don't know, though, Danny played Senna Scorch, so my Water Snake was better than his Fire Snake, and Tord played Decidueye. So at Alteration, he knocked out my ADP, and then I just bodied him with Gyarados.
You didn't have to tell anyone any of that.
Well, just so like they don't feel bad, maybe.
Grant, where can the people find you?
Real Boosie K on Twitter. I try and post a decent meme. We had a good one. Me and Sackett collaborated for a good one 2 weeks ago.
That was so good. And then there's the Bop It, Twist It, Pull It, Sackett.
Yeah.
I was like, Boo did make that, huh?
I try and post a meme or two there. I did the We Need More Wood. But yeah, Real Boo CK, and then maybe on Twitch every once in a while, Boo_CK.
And of course, you can find me Twitch, Twitter, YouTube at mellow_Magikarp. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure to leave a 5-star review if you're on iTunes. Or I guess, am I allowed to ask for a 5-star review?
Yeah.
You're the
Too
lawyer.
late now.
No, feel free to give a 5-star review or less,
Or more.
but go ahead and give a 5-star review or less. 5-star review or less.
I've consulted with my legal team.
That's
That is
how
our
you
new
say it?
official
That's
stance.
I think that's actually how you handle that.
I have
Perfect.
to go back and edit that, just replay it at the end of every stream, just to add it on there as audio.
Again, give it a 5-star review or less.
Yeah.
However you feel, but 5-star or less.
Who's going to have a cameo in every podcast from here on out? It's just going to be him saying that phrase over and again.
And this has been another episode of the Lake of Rage podcast. We'll catch you all next week.